As the film starts, a team of archaeologists are exploring a mysterious cave in Mexico, where among them is a guy named Tad Stones, with his dog, Jeff. Tad discovers a mysterious writing on the wall, and he presses it and a hole in the ground swallows him and his dog. Upon landing, he discovers an Egyptian sarcophagus, but the place starts to crumble and they run for their lives. Tad and Jeff are about to fall into the hot lava, but they're rescued by a girl named Sarah, who takes them outside to safety. Tad claims he only found an Egyptian sarcophagus down there, but they ignore him and laugh. He also gets fired for his clumsiness and is asked to take with him his dog and parrot, which eats their snacks. Sarah wishes she could join him, but Tad chooses to go alone back to Chicago. A creepy guy watches Tad as he leaves and informs another mysterious lady that the treasure has been found. After a long journey, Tad finally arrives home, and his dog Jeff pukes out a mysterious pendant, which he picked up from the Egyptian cave. The landlord complains to Tad about the noises in his home, but it was actually his mummy friend called Mummy from Patiti, whom he left behind causing all the noise. Tad is disappointed for getting fired, and Mummy encourages him since at least he managed to find him. Back at the site, they pull out the Egyptian sarcophagus with strange writings about curses, and they now realize that Tad was right indeed. Meanwhile, after attending an archaeologist class, Tad receives an unknown call from a lady who claims she knows about his discovery in Mexico, and she directs him to enter the car in front of him so they could discuss a new adventure she has in store. Tad is transported to a faraway mansion where he meets Professor Victoria Moon, who is obsessed with explaining and solving mysteries. Victoria also narrates to Tad a certain story about how an ancient Egyptian sorcerer named Hermes created a powerful object called the Emerald Tablet, which controlled magic, and he helped the kingdom achieve splendor. However, the pharaoh failed to acknowledge him, so Hermes harnessed the power of the tablet, and he unleashed the beasts of the underworld. The pharaoh discovered the plan, so he locked up Hermes and hid the tablet. Since then, all the great conquerors of history searched for it, hungry for the power, the likes of Alexander the Great, Caesar, and Attila. Napoleon found it, but he could not control its power, so he returned it, but his archaeologist Dominique left behind an engraving that leads to the tablet. Victoria thinks the engraving could be in Dominique's old office in the Louvre Museum in France, but she also has a fragment of the tablet. She therefore asks Tad to persuade his team to work with her in researching the sarcophagus belonging to the sorcerer Hermes, which can be opened with the Guardian's pendant, which his dog holds. Later that night, Tad calls Sarah, and he learns that the sarcophagus is now kept in a museum in Chicago, and that Victoria Moon was Sarah's classmate who went weird. Tad is also sad that he did not get credits for discovering the mummy, and he decides to go after it, hoping for the world to finally recognize him. Tad then opens the sarcophagus with the pendant, unveiling a small mummy chained onto it, and his mummy friend also appears with their dog, Jeff, and parrot, Belzoni, who wouldn't miss the adventure. Mummy accidentally breaks the seal, releasing a glowing magic, which sucks him in together with the pets. Belzoni later comes out, but he has Jeff's body fused onto him, while Mummy develops crocodile parts and he can't stop running chaotically. The sarcophagus falls and the museum lady triggers the alarm, so they escape. Tad now hopes to find the Emerald Tablet to revert his friend's curses, and they have to travel to Paris to find Dominique's office. The following day, the cops, led by CIA agent Pickle and police chief Ramirez, search through the museum to find the culprits, and they find Tad's bag, while Sarah discovers a feather from the parrot Belzoni, and he goes to warn Tad. Outside, Victoria welcomes her into her car and they head out to find Tad. The agents also find a video recording of the mummy from Tad's phone, indicating they're headed to France. Tad and Mummy hide in the luggage and they are carried to France and delivered to the Louvre Museum, where they try to find Dominique's office around the Egyptian wing. Tad then finds a statue of Anubis, and below it there is a passage, which they break through, and underground they find Dominique's office, with books around, and Mummy finds another sarcophagus, and he takes a selfie for his Instagram. Suddenly a queen mummy appears and scares them, and she introduces herself as Ramona, a pharaoh from the 18th dynasty. Mummy introduces himself as a mummy from Paititi, but Ramona claims mummies are only Egyptian. Ramona reveals that she is alive because a while ago, a goat herder passing through her tomb choked on dates and uttered a spell that brought her back to life. A French archaeologist discovered her but left her locked there for safety, and they ask her to help them find the Emerald Tablet. Suddenly, their conversation is interrupted by the police, who are after Tad Stones, and Ramona leads them out through another passage in a bathtub. The tub lands in a boat, which they use to escape from the police agents. Later, Ramona accepts to take them to the tablet, but on condition that they make her famous in history and display her in a museum, and Tad agrees. Ramona reveals that there is a map to the tablet, but its key is found in the River Nile in Egypt. Mummy reveals to the Insta-Zammers that they're headed to Egypt, and Agent Ramirez likes his post, and Tad throws the phone away. Mummy is angered by this and he starts turning, and he transforms into an ancient creature called Amit, and he charges to attack Tad. Thankfully, Queen Ramona saves him by entertaining the Amit with a chicken doll to fetch, just like a puppy, and he reverts back to a normal mummy. Later, Sarah arrives in France alone after running from Victoria, and she finds out that Tad had been spotted in the museum. Later, the team travels to Egypt in the usual luggage packages, and Ramona feels embarrassed to be traveling with commoners. Sarah meets with Victoria at Dominique's office, and they find a clue of the tablet in Egypt, and Sarah summons her team of archaeologists for an adventure to Egypt. Tad's team later arrives in Egypt and they ride through the Nile, where Ramona explains how her jealous cousin poisoned her with a scorpion and stole her throne, and her reign lasted only for 3 days, hence why she is almost unknown in history. She also shows them a cave where Tad goes alone to find the key, and he comes out with a prism. Sarah's team also arrives in Egypt, while the cops find Tad's team and they attack them for destroying the Mona Lisa. While hiding, Tad furiously scorns Mummy for destroying the art and calls him a burden, and Mummy angrily transforms into the Amit, and they jump onto him as he escapes. Sarah's team enters a different cave, and as Victoria's book glows, the Amit's eyes also glow, and they crash land. Mummy reverts to himself, but he starts walking away after what Tad said, and Tad apologizes. Tad sees his former archaeologist team at the predicted tablet location, and he sends Mummy to disguise himself to distract them while he sneaks into the cave. There he finds Sarah, and they fit the prism key into a rock, and it transforms into a map, revealing that the tablet is beneath the Great Pyramid. However, Victoria reveals her plan to rule the world and fill the cities with fantastic creatures, and she traps them all in the cave. The police later find them there and arrest them. Tad is disappointed since his obsession to be great caused them all the trouble, and he asks Mummy to forgive him. Tad then takes the doll from Mummy, and he transforms into the Amit, but he falls dizzy and they escape with him into a police vehicle. However, Queen Ramona asks them to proceed without her, since her only wish is to be displayed in a museum, and Tad wishes her the best of luck as they head back to find a cure for Mummy. The team then heads to find Victoria, remembering Ramona's words that the tablet wants to be found, and it is using her to bring it back. Victoria enters the pyramid and opens up a passage, using her piece of the tablet, and the others follow her in. She then finds the tablet and uses its magic to summon beasts from the underworld, and she also transforms their friend Mummy into an angry Amit. The Amit attacks Sarah and Tad and almost gets them, but they are surprisingly rescued by Ramona, who distracts it with the chicken doll, and it follows her instead. Tad and Sarah trip the Amit and it falls, causing Victoria to release the tablet. Bell Jeff brings the tablet to Tad, which he points against Mummy, causing him to fall into the abyss as everyone watches in dismay. Suddenly, Tad has a vision in which the archaeologists are celebrated for their discovery of the Emerald Tablet, and the team honors and welcomes Tad Stones to their team. However, Tad is still sad that Sarah, Ramona, and Mummy are not with him, and he senses something is wrong and is immediately drawn back to reality, where the Amit is chasing him. Tad then chooses to throw the tablet into the abyss, destroying it, and everything returns to normal, including Mummy, dog Jeff, and parrot Belzoni. They all run out of the pyramid together, where Sarah reconciles with Victoria and Mummy with Tad, while Ramona misses her soldiers who loved her, so they all hug her. Later, the cops arrive with the archaeologists, and Agent Ramirez claims they are free to go, and they promise to not give a word about the incident. Tad then decides to travel with his new team, and this time Queen Ramona joins them, as she wishes to see the world, and she now has a new mummy friend, Mummy from Paititi. Mummy is too excited and he throws out the chicken doll, which lands onto a cyclist, leading him out of track from the competition, and the enjoyable film comes to an end. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel. I'll be back with another interesting movie recap. Until then, take care.